Welcome to All Levels Yoga. My name's Karen. We're going to start sitting today, so you can come to any comfortable seat. It could be cross-legged, but you could also kneel. You could also have your feet just simply ahead of you with a looser bend in your knees. And as you arrive at your seat, take a few moments to settle into stillness, and this can be kind of shifting left and right a few times and forward and back, and finding that sweet spot right in between. And soften your eyelids, let your eyes close. And then as your hands come down to your legs, press down firmly enough that you can lift up through your chest and lift up through the crown of your head. So take a moment to recognize what you've done so far, even into just make this time, to get this time to practice. And also this time ahead of you, this is really time that you're dedicating to your health and healing, to the steadiness of your mind. So allow yourself to be here by connecting with your breath. Begin to slow down your breath. And to make your breath a little bit thorough, when you breathe in, breathe towards your belly first, and then let the breath rise up towards your chest. When you're full of breath, exhale very slowly, letting your chest and belly descend. The inhale builds up, away from the ground, making you a little taller in your seat, and then the exhale settles you with gravity. So keep breathing in this way, establishing a slow rhythm that will give you time to move carefully, attentively, and to create space in your body so we can stretch out, expand with a sense of groundedness. Now, the next time you breathe in, reach your fingertips up towards the ceiling. And when you breathe out, lean to the left, bring your left hand down, and take a side body stretch. When you inhale, come back up to center, reach up through your left arm, and then we'll go the other way, lean to the right as you exhale. Inhale, back up to center. With an exhale, lean to the left. Breathe in once more up to center, and then exhale to lean over to the right. Okay, make your way back up, reach up one more time, and as you exhale, soften your shoulders and bring your arms down. Okay, so let's come off our seat, come around to your hands and your knees, create a tabletop shape. We're going to take our spine back and forth a few times in cat lift and cat tuck. So with your fingers spread wide, roll your shoulders back, and as you inhale, let your pelvis tip forward and draw your chest forward. And then when you breathe out, round your spine, tipping your tailbone down and bring your chin towards your chest. Back to the inhale, a slow stretch of your front body. And then the exhale to open space through your back body. Move at your own pace. We'll take a few more. One more time through. Okay, and then come back into a neutral spine. Shift your weight slightly into your left knee, enough that you can extend your right heel back. And once your leg is extended, shift your weight into your right hand and extend your left fingertips forward. Try to roll your right shoulder back so your upper back is there to support you. Here, breathe in while you're stretched out long. And when you exhale, bend your right knee, left elbow, hug them in. And then inhale, reach out again. And exhale to curl. We'll do two more of these. So an inhale to reach, and an exhale. And then one more time, breathing in. and breathing out. Okay, set your knee down, your hand down, shift towards your left hand and extend your left leg back. And then your right hand forward. So we'll stay with the extension as you inhale. As you exhale, bend your back knee and your elbow and hug them in, and then inhale to stretch out. And exhale, let the movement press the breath from your body. 2 more, and inhale. And an exhale. 1 more time. And exhale. Great, bring your knee down, your hand down. Take your knees a little wider. We're going to stretch back into child's pose, so let your hips settle back towards your heels. And you can walk your hands forward if your shoulders are comfortable with that. You could also bend your elbows, make a couple fists, and let your head rest down. If you are walking your hands forward, I'll add 1 more option. So as you bring your forehead towards the mat, press down through the pads of your fingers and lift the backs of your wrists up. So that's going to draw your shoulders towards your ears and create a little bit of stretch through the sides of your upper body. And whether or not you're doing this with your arms, try to draw your sitting bones, so right at the base of your pelvis, down towards your heels. So your lower back has a bit more room. Let's take a slow inhale. A long exhale. If your wrists are lifted, bring them down. Bring yourself back up to your hands and knees, and then set your knees about hip-width distance apart. Curl your toes under, lift your knees up, and let's move to down dog. So begin to press your weight back towards your heels. And it feels so nice to take the first down dog in motion. So this could be walking your heels towards the ground 1 at a time. It's allowing a good stretch to move through 1 foot, 1 ankle, 1 set of calf muscles at a time. Okay, and then slow down the movement, so you come back to symmetry, back to stillness and down dog, but press down through the pads of your fingers. And if you have room to draw your shoulder blades down your back, that'll essentially make your neck feel a little bit longer. Now, the next time you breathe in, lift your heels up a bit higher. And when you breathe out, bend your knees and look forward, and then take a few steps or a couple long strides to come to the front of your mat. This is Uttanasana, so set your feet up as wide as you need to be steady, and then bend your knees. Bend your knees enough that your upper body can come to rest on your thighs. And so you might even feel like you're heading towards chair pose, but let's give the weight of our upper body into our legs, and then your lower back can soften a bit more. Take your hands off the ground, take your hands to your elbows, so you form a cradle with your arms, and let your head be heavy. Okay, now push down firmly through your feet, and if you have space in your hamstrings, lift your hips up a little bit higher. Try to keep your torso connected to your thighs. We'll have plenty of opportunity to do Uttanasana in our favorite way, but for now, we're just edging a little bit of space through the backs of the legs. Okay, make sure you're breathing. Let's take a couple more breaths. Okay, now the next time you breathe in, take your hands to your shin bones and come up to a halfway lift, a nice long spine. And when you exhale, bow down in towards your legs. Moving that way again, inhale, a halfway lift, roll your shoulders back. And then exhale to bow back in. Okay, 1 more time, an inhale, lengthening, and an exhale, folding. Okay, lift up with your hands on blocks or the ground, a halfway lift shape again, and then step your right foot back, a long stride, and walk your hands back underneath your shoulders, and then set your right knee down to the mat. Now roll your left hip back, hug your right hip forward, push down through your left foot, and then lift your upper body and simply bring your arms by your sides. So we're going to start with a relaxed shape in the upper body. Keep pushing down firmly through your left foot, so much that you can feel a natural sense of lift through your chest. This will help you breathe well. Turn your palms forward, just enough that your shoulder blades feel at ease on your back, and then lift up through the back edges of your ears. You can keep your arms down low like this, or if you wish, you can bring your hands to your heart, or you can reach your fingertips up towards the ceiling. So here we'll take 3 more slow breaths and inhale. And exhale. And inhale. Exhale. One more. And exhale. Okay, lean forward. Bring your hands down to the ground and then step back, downward facing dog. So as you meet down dog, pedal out your heels a few times. Again, just allow some sense of ease to come through your left leg. And spread your fingers wide apart from each other. You know, follow a long inhale to come forward into plank pose. When you arrive at plank, roll your shoulders back, but try to draw your chest forward. Hug your inner thighs towards each other and lift from your pelvic floor up. Lift from your belly button also up towards your spine. Okay, make sure you're breathing. So soon there's an inhale. But as you breathe out, bend your elbows and carefully lay your body down to the mat. Untuck your toes, straighten out your legs, and then reach your hands back. So as you do that, your palms can face your hips, or you can clasp your hands. Press down firmly through your pelvis, and then lift gently through the center of your chest. Roll your shoulders back, and if you wish, you can lift your hands up too, lifting your knuckles up and back. And try to keep your neck long, so as your head and neck meet the pose, lift up through the back edges of your ears. Make sure you're breathing. One more. Great. And then soften down. Bring your palms by your ribs, curl your toes under, and then lift yourself back up. Let's head to downward facing dog. Now moving on from down dog, float your left leg up, three-legged dog. And then step your left foot forward, bring it up towards your left hand. Your hands can be on blocks or the ground, so wherever you feel best. Try to roll your left hip back firmly. Again, hug your right hip forward. Draw your shoulders back too, and then lengthen your chest forward. So we're working with a sense of firmness through our upper body, so we can come into this twist really mindfully. Move a little extra weight into your right hand. Bring your left hand up to your left hip. As you push down through your right hand and left foot, turn your chest towards the left. And then you can keep your left hand at your hip or reach up towards the ceiling. Try to shrug both of your shoulders away from your ears. And then lengthen back through your right heel, forward through the top of your head. So you're creating a long line as possible right through your body. And if there's room to rotate your neck a little more, you're most welcome to look up to whatever degree. Make sure you're breathing. So again, here we are. We'll take a couple more breaths. And look down, slowly ease your left hand down to the ground, and then bring your right knee down also. Now move your hands to the inside of your left foot and draw your left foot down the length of your mat until you can float your leg up. Move your right hand a little wider to the right and spread your fingers. Also move your right foot over to the right. And then lean into your right hand and right foot and turn your upper body towards the left. Reach up through your left hand. So here you can stay, or bend your left knee for a well-deserved thigh stretch. So we use these muscles a lot as we move into lunges, strengthening them, but it's really nice to give them some space. So hug your heel in towards your sitting bone and draw your pubic bone up towards your sternum. Then gently release your left foot and stretch your leg back. Let your toes come down to the mat. Also bring your left hand down. We're going to move back to down dog. So step your right foot back and lift your hips up. Spread your fingers wide apart from each other. And then the next time you breathe in, lift your heels up higher. And when you breathe out, bend your knees and look forward. Steps or two strides bring you forward to a halfway lift. And exhale, bow in. We're going to take 2 more times through that as you inhale a halfway lift. Maybe your hands are at your shin bones. And then exhale, bow right to the bottom of your breath. 1 more time. And inhale. And an exhale. Great. This time as you breathe in and lift your chest up, your hands can be on blocks or the ground. Step your left foot back. Take a nice long lunge stride. Walk your hands underneath your shoulders. And then carefully place your left knee down to the mat or a cushion. Hug your right hip back, draw your left hip forward, and then push down through your right foot. Lift your upper body and bring your arms by your sides. Mountain pose arms. Okay. Try to keep your right knee tracking forward, right over top of your heel, and push down through your foot enough that you can feel a sense of levity through your chest. It gives you space to breathe with a little more ease. And extend down through all your fingertips. Let your shoulder blades glide down your back and lift up through the back edges of your ears. So you may feel best staying just as you are, a beautiful shape to hold, or you could take your hands to your heart or reach your arms up. Okay, 4 more breaths, breathing in and out. In and out. 2 more, inhale. Exhale. 1 more time. And exhale. Okay, with that one, bring your hands down right to the mat so you can move back to downward facing dog. So step your right foot back and take a moment to draw your hips up and away from your hands, fingertips spread wide. Now as you inhale again, carry yourself forward to plank. Now I didn't mention on the first side, I don't think, but you can certainly bring your knees to the mat. I like to practice that way at least half of the time. So press down through your finger pads, draw your shoulders back, and your gaze here is just ahead of your fingertips. Your neck can be long. Lift up from your belly button towards your spine. Let's take an inhale, so you're gathering your strength, and then as you exhale, bend your elbows and slowly come down right onto your stomach. Okay, untuck your toes, straighten out your legs again. Reach your hands back, your palms may face in, or clasp your hands. Try to get the opposite thumb on top if you're clasping your hands. And then reach your fingertips back to help lift your chest and to help lift the fronts of your shoulders. Keep pushing down through the front of your pelvis. And then on this side, if you feel comfortable not only lifting your upper body, but bringing some lift through your inner thighs, then go ahead and lift your legs too. And try to really extend out through the balls of your feet so your legs stay quite straight. And as you lift up through your head, remember it's the back edges of your ears. So your neck can have lots of space. You can even look around a little bit. We're not statues. This is all a process. Okay, soon there's an inhale. And then on the exhale, soften down, tuck your toes. And through that longer hold, maybe you settle back into child's pose, or maybe you move right up to down dog. You can just take your pick. Where does it feel good to take a couple of slow, deep breaths? If you're in child's pose, make your way up to downward facing dog. Okay. And from down dog, raise your right leg up and step your right foot forward. Move your heel underneath your knee near your right hand. Now again, your hands can be on blocks or the ground. Try to bring your right hip back so you're deeply folded into that hip crease, but hug your left hip forward. And then as you gather the strength of your hips, draw your shoulders back and try to keep your spine nice and long. Move a little extra weight into your left hand, bring your right hand up to your right hip, and then turn your torso towards the right. Roll your shoulders back so your neck has lots of room, and your right hand can stay just as it is, or reach up through your right hand. So push back through your left heel so your back leg is straight. And then lengthen forward through the top of your head. So you're always giving yourself a little bit more room for experience and breath. We'll take a couple more. How about one more? One more inhale. Whenever that exhale comes for you, bring your right hand down, set your left knee down also. Move your hands off blocks if they're there, right to the mat, to your inner right foot. And then pull your right foot down your mat until you can extend your leg. On this side, move your left hand to the left, move your left toes to the left, lean into that hand and foot, turn your upper body towards the right and push out through your right heel. Reach up through your right arm. So here's the starting place. Maybe you stay in this shape, or bend your right knee and reach your right hand back towards the top of your foot, hugging your heel in towards your sitting bone. And then draw your pubic bone at the front of your pelvis up towards your sternum. And that might add just a little extra juice to the stretch. Make sure your breath is deep. Let go of your foot, stretch out your leg. Look down, bring your right hand down, your right toes down. Let's head to down dog. So lift your hips up and back behind you. Okay, now we're gonna move right on from downward facing dog. So lift your left leg up, three-legged dog. And then step your left foot forward, bring it up to your left hand. We're going to move to a high lunge, so you can get a little head start on that if you'd like by bringing your hands up to blocks, hug your hips towards each other, and then lift your upper body. So we'll work just like the low lunge. You can have your hands by your sides, palms to heart center, or your arms raised. Your back leg, there can be some variation. How you choose to take the pose can be with some bend in your back knee, or your back leg can be straighter. It depends what your lower back feels best with. I like somewhere in between. It's a little steadier too. And maybe you stay facing directly forward, or if you have room to lift up and lean back a bit, then you can as well. Let's take 3 more breaths. So there's an inhale soon, and an exhale. Inhale, exhale. One more inhale, and exhale. Okay, now stay upright, take your hands to your hips. Straighten out your left leg, shorten up your stride a bit so you can bring your right heel to the ground. Your heels can be hip-width distance apart, or you can move one heel ahead of the other. Turn your chest directly forward. Keep your hands on your hips. Lift up through your chest. So this is where we breathe in. As you exhale, tip forward from your pelvis and come into a place that you just start to feel the hamstring stretch develop. You're not in all the way yet. Lift from your belly button towards your spine. Make sure you keep breathing. Lift the fronts of your shoulders away from the ground. And then maybe your hands stay as they are. Maybe your hands come to your thigh bone, shin bone, or blocks, or you can clasp your hands. If you're going for that last choice, clasp on your lower back, then reach your knuckles back. And if you have space, with any of the variations, if you have space to dive in further, you're welcome to, in towards your left shin bone. Make sure you're breathing. It's always my job to remind you how easy it is to get our breath on autopilot. There's the opportunity to do so much more. And we need it too. Okay, coming out of the pose. So put a little bend in your left knee, bring your hands down onto blocks, and then walk your hands forward and step your right foot forward. Come up to a halfway lift. So there you take a deep breath. Hold the halfway lift as you exhale and bring your hands up to your hips. And then breathe in to lift up the rest of the way. So here you are at mountain pose. We're going to start to shift onto your left foot. So just take a few moments to bring your weight onto your left foot so much that you can lift your right heel. When you're ready, lift your right foot, bend your left knee, and cross your right thigh over your left one. This is moving to eagle pose. So you could also have your knee up higher if your groin is better that way, or a tighter cross. So your foot can be raised, your toes can be to the ground, or hook your toes. And then if you have room to sit down a little further, go ahead. Take your arms out ahead of you. Cross your left elbow over your right, and then wind your forearms around each other, or take your hands to your shoulders. Eagle pose, Garudasana pose. So we'll spend just a little bit more time here. Make sure that your breath is steady, that your gaze is steady for the balance too. Unwind your arms, just reach your fingertips towards the ground. Unwind your legs. We're taking a big step back with our right foot. Let your toes land, let your hands land, then step back, downward facing dog. And if any of you would like to move through a vinyasa, you've got a couple breaths here before the second side. Feel free to come to plank, chaturanga, your back bend, and we'll meet back in down dog. Okay, from down dog, let's take the second side. So raise your right leg up with an inhale. Step your right foot forward, bring it up to your right hand. Now we're coming to a high lunge. Again, blocks can be nice helping hands to give you a head start, and then lift your upper body. How much bend do you want in your back knee? You can set that up now. Start with your arms here, just at your sides. Maybe then to your heart. Maybe then up. Keep the lunge forward into your right knee. An uplifting quality through your chest. Maybe you stay facing forward. Maybe there's a little lean back. 4 more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, last one. Inhale. Great. And exhale. Okay. Straighten out your right leg, bring your hands to your hips, make your stride a little shorter and bring your back heel down. And maybe your feet stay wide, or maybe you bring one heel in front of the other. Turn your chest forward. Press down through the outer edge of your left foot. Bring your hands onto your hips. So as you push into the mat, lift up and away from it. Tip forward from your pelvis. And on the way down, until before the stretch is really too big, lift from your belly button towards your spine and lift the fronts of your shoulders up. So you may stay just as you are, or if you'd like to bring your hands to your thigh, shin bone, or blocks, go ahead. Or maybe you clasp your hands, try the opposite thumb on top this time too, and with that, perhaps your knuckles draw back and up. And then if you feel there's room to lean a little further in towards your right leg, then absolutely go ahead, just try to keep your spine long. And notice how gravity is acting on your shoulders, so try to keep your shoulder blades drawn down your back, just giving your neck and throat some room to breathe. Almost there. Okay, good work. So let's start by bringing our hands down and bend your right knee, and then walk your hands ahead, step your left foot forward, come right up into a halfway lift. And as you exhale, a little weight into your heels, bring your hands up to your hips, and then lift your upper body. And here we come up to mountain pose, and we're just gonna set mountain pose gradually onto your right foot. Lift your left heel so you know you're heading towards a balance, but take your time. Lift your left knee as you're ready. Bend your right knee, cross your left leg over your right. You can choose where that crossing point is. And then your left foot can stay raised. You can bring your toes down, that's helpful for balance, or hook your toes. If there's room again to sit down a little further, that can even bring a sense of security to the pose. Bring your arms out ahead of you. Cross your right elbow over your left. Maybe you wind your hands around each other, or maybe your hands come onto your shoulders. Eagle pose. Try to breathe into the back of your rib cage. Keep some tone in your lower belly. Let the next exhalation draw to a close. And then unwrap your arms, just let your fingertips reach down. Unwrap your left leg. We're taking a controlled step back, just as best as you can. Let your hands land downward facing dog. Okay, a wonderful time to take a vinyasa if you wish. I'll go through it this time, or hold in down dog, or hold in child's pose. If the vinyasa is plank, chaturanga, your back bend, and that can be cobra pose or upward facing dog. And then downward facing dog. Oh, how about a clearing breath? Inhale nice and deep. Exhale fully. And then set your knees down so you can sit down. Bring your hips to the ground. Stretch your legs out ahead of you. All right, we're going to take a seated spinal twist. Ardha Matsyendrasana pose. Bend your left knee, and your left foot can stay on the inside of your right leg, but you can also take it to the outside. And then bring your left hand back, push down through your left hand, left foot to lift up through your chest, and then turn your chest. And your right arm can wrap around your left leg to help maintain the twist, or you may find your elbow can hook to your outer knee. Try to open back through your left collarbone. Stay lifted through the top of your head. If there's room to turn your gaze by turning your neck and head back, then go ahead. Now, breath is a little bit inhibited when you come into a twist, but still do your best to keep it deep. So the breath creates some pressure against your internal organs, vitalizing them. So you come to face forward, stretch out your left leg. We'll switch sides, so bend your right knee. Your foot can stay on the inside of your left leg or place it to the outer edge. And then bring your right hand back behind your hip and push down through your right hand, right foot to lift up, creating space for the twist. And turn your torso towards the right. Your left arm can hug your right leg in, or you could take your elbow to your outer knee. And then roll back through your right shoulder. And as you push down through all points of contact, try to lift the crown of your head up towards the sky. And your gaze could be as your chest is facing or turned a little further to the right. Find a depth to your breath again, moving into the pressure of each inhale, releasing the pressure each exhale. Unwind with care. As you turn to face forward, bend your knees, and then roll down onto your back. Optionally, you can take a block or a little bit of height with you. That'll be useful in a couple poses, so both being options. All right, now the first one, we're going to come into an isolated hamstring stretch, just replicating some of the work in pyramid pose because you're a bit warmer now. If you like, you can take your hips onto a block. What purpose that serves is allows the leg that's not being stretched to open your hip flexors. Let's start with our left leg. So lift your left foot up and take your hands to the back of your leg, clasp your hands, and push the sole of your left foot up. And then whether your hips are up on a block or not, you can keep your right knee bent, or you could straighten out your leg. If you're straightening your leg, just try to keep your toes turned up and your knee turned up. Okay, so back to your left leg. Know that your knee doesn't need to be all the way straight, just enough that you feel some sense of stretch through the back of your leg. And then try to roll the baby toe side of your foot down towards your left hip. So it's like your foot could stand on the roof, nice and even. Put some pressure between your palms and your leg. And it's not just the pressure of hugging your leg back and towards your chest, but your leg can actually put a little inverse pressure into your hands, stabilizing the stretch. Okay, so through all this sensation, and our hamstrings usually have plenty to offer, make sure that you're breathing, letting some of the feelings go each exhalation. Your left knee and bring your foot to the ground. We'll simply trade sides, so bring your right knee up and clasp your hands behind your right leg. Start by pushing your foot up and then choose where your left leg is going to be. So your knee could be bent or your leg could be straight. Okay, let's move back to your right leg again. So come to just an appropriate length to your right leg. Certainly your knee can still be bent. Where is the sensation manageable? Where does it not feel harmful? Okay, as you push up through your foot, the baby toe side of your foot will tend to lift up a little bit higher than the ball of your foot, so try to draw it back and down. You'd have a little more of this feeling of connection if you're standing in a forward fold. So we're just replicating that alignment here. Put some pressure between your palms and your right leg. So that's not just hugging your leg in, but it's actually letting your right leg resist a little bit. Couple more breaths. Let's make it 3 actually, so 2 more. Bend your right knee and bring your feet down to the ground. Now, if your hips are on a block, if you'd like to use that for a reverse posture, you can just go ahead and lift your feet up. If you'd like to take your hips up higher than that into your hands and take the block away. Now, to know, as we move into an inversion, you could choose any other inversion you'd like too. So if you practice headstand, maybe this becomes headstand. If you're coming to reverse posture, roll up through your spine. And while your feet are still pretty low, try to rock a little left to right and bring your elbows closer. And then push your hands into your hips and gradually elevate your legs. So it's up to you, of course, how high you lift your legs. But if you lift them up to a certain point that you feel a lot of weight moving down into your elbows, you might consider, if your upper back feels okay to do this, walking your hands up your spine. So this makes it shoulder stand. If you encounter any discomfort in these shapes that doesn't feel beneficial, if your breath just can't catch up, or you feel any quality of strain through your upper back, neck, wherever it may be, then please do choose to come down and choose a gentler option, and that could even be just putting your legs up the wall. When you breathe upside down, your breath moves from your chest up towards your belly on the inhale. And the exhale moves the breath down towards your chest, down towards the ground. So breathe in reverse. Let's begin to come away from the pose. If your hands are on your hips, then fold at your hips. If your hips are on a block, then bend your knees, bring your feet down. Take your time to slowly arrive with your hips on the mat and your feet on the mat, a bend in your knees, and this can take you in 2 directions. So first choice, recline bound angle pose. This is created by turning the soles of your feet into each other and letting your knees move apart from each other. And maybe your arms move wide too. So it could be this, or fish pose. And fish pose is created by straightening out your legs and edge your arms underneath you. They don't really have to go too far, but just enough that you can put some extra pressure down through your hands, down through your elbows, and then lift your chest up. And try to draw your belly button towards your spine as you lift your chest up higher, and then slowly roll your shoulders back and bring your head down gradually. So you may need to adjust your arms a little bit when you come in. You want some space down the back of your neck. So if your shoulders are lifted up quite high, just try to nudge your arms a little further down our mat. In both poses, deep breathing. Come away from the pose. If you're in fish, lift your head. If you're in bound angle, bring your knees in towards each other and set the soles of your feet down to the ground. Okay, our last stop before Shavasana is happy baby pose. So bring your knees in towards your chest and then open your knees a little wider, lift your feet and reach up either towards your ankles or towards the outer edges of your feet and use your arms to hug your thigh bones down. And this could create a little rocking motion too. It can feel nice to massage your lower back in that way. And this is also a good time to set some resolve that Shavasana is such a necessary part of the practice. You've done this hard work, and it can be an amazing transition just to allow your body to encounter stillness and non-doingness. So please stretch out. Take your heels open a little wider. Your hands off your mat and tuck your shoulder blades underneath you. Let's take a deep clearing breath again. So inhale, exhale. yourself land. To deepen your breath. Reach your toes off the back of your mat, or I guess it's the front of your mat, and your hands off the back of your mat. And then bend your knees, bring your feet down flat, and roll over to your right side. Take your time to lift up away from the ground and come up to a comfortable seated pose. Also so important just to take a moment or two to seal your practice with the same kind of intention that you began it, with the same intensity. So bring your palms together to heart center. Thank you for sharing your time and your effort. I hope you have a peaceful day from here. Namaste.